Check this out, I got my Aptera pre-order in. All right, we're in the Electrek. I'm gonna be driving it over the shop because we're gonna work on it. We gotta get the interior fixed up and we gotta get it road ready. You can hear that whining of the DC electric motor. Speedometer works. Gauge is coming alive. So let's take it over to the shop. It's kind of a fun car to drive. It's based on the Volkswagen Rabbit, so it's got decent suspension and steering. It's actually pretty fun. And it's not slow either. Probably would give a Rabbit a run for its money. A little bit weird with no windshield. I'm just keeping it on slow speeds in the local area until I get it tuned up. And of course the paint job is new. Paint looks amazing. So I just want to get the rest of the car looking as good as the paint does. Here we are. Here we are at the shop. Let's pull it in and take a look at it. So you may remember this car from my early set of videos, the first videos I did on this channel. And this car is a 1982 Electrek, unique mobility, and Electrek, that's spelled T-R-E-K. So this is one of the early EVs from that Malaise era. And it had, of course, the lead acid batteries and all the problems that go along with those. But under the hood is a General Electric DC motor and is pretty advanced for the time. Can go on the highway, has decent range. I've got it about 24 kilowatt hours of Hyundai lithium ion batteries from an Ioniq 5. So this thing should do over 100 miles range with those batteries. Take a closer look. Here's the DC electric motor, and it's hooked up to a 4-speed Volkswagen transmission. All the suspension, the brakes, the steering, all the running gear is from Volkswagen Rabbit from the 80s. So this is kind of a high-tech car for its time. Front wheel drive was new at the time, and of course it's electric. You can see the steel cross member, which is what the motor hangs from, and it's also mounted underneath. This is the throttle control, so it's physically moves by your throttle pedal. And inside there is actually 2 potentiometers. Up here is where the main contactor is, and all the fuses up in this box. It has a rudimentary cooling fan, a blower motor that blows cool fresh air through the motor to keep it cool. And you can see the axles that go to the front wheels. It also has a liquid heater in this, basically a resistive heating element that heats up coolant, and that passes through the heater core under the dash to heat the cabin. Some of the early versions of this car actually had a hair dryer, a Gillette hair dryer, which was for defrost only, but this one actually has a heater. So obviously I need to get this dashboard replaced. It's basically just foam with this vinyl over the top, so I'm going to redo that. I'll put some new vents in there. Maybe I'll 3D print some vents. I need to get this window replaced. It was cracked when I had the paint job done. They basically pulled all the windows out of the car to paint it, and it just cracked on them. It's old glass. Luckily it's flat glass, so I should be able to get a new piece made relatively easily. And I've also done the full restoration of the wheels. These are Volkswagen wheels off a Scirocco, and I had those powder coated in the original bronze. It's got a kind of a cool textured finish on there. And then of course I got the Hankook low rolling resistance tires. Check out the tire size, 175/70/13. Hard to find tires that small. There's only a couple options, but luckily Hankook makes low rolling resistance tires to get every little bit of electricity to the pavement. It's got disc brakes in the front, drum brakes in the rear, and independent suspension in the front with a beam axle in the rear. Just Volkswagen Rabbit parts. The paint is a two-tone. I got the dark brown on the bottom with the bronze or metallic brown on top. This is the original colors. It was very faded when I bought this car. I bought this car for $500 and it had been sitting outdoors for a number of years. So it's very faded, but we found in one of the door jams some paint that was not so faded from the sun, and we color matched to that color. You can see I've got the Colorado collector vehicle plates on there, which is really cool. And then this is the General Electric meter. The guy who owned this before me actually plugged this in at a lamppost on the street in Lyons, Colorado. And basically the meter maid would come around and read off the meter and charge him for his electricity use. So this meter works only when you plug into one set of plugs, and then in the other set of plugs, it doesn't go through the meter. So when he charges at home, it doesn't charge him. But it's kind of a cool time capsule, cool piece of history, EV history. This is the first EV that had regenerative braking, the first production EV. And Carroll Shelby was actually on the board of directors for this car, and he put in seat time to get the handling and the drivability dialed in way back in the 80s. Carroll Shelby lived here in Colorado for a number of years during his peak of his racing career. So inside, it's a four-seater, 2+2. So we got the front seats here and the back seats. The back seats are kind of small, but kind of roomy compared to a lot of cars. And you can see the headliner came down when they did the paint job. So I need to get that tucked back up and use some adhesive or something to stick it. Of course, I'll get the whole dashboard replaced, and I'll try to polish up these gauges so that it looks nice and clean. And it's got the 4-speed shifter here. Basically, you use a reverse gear to go reverse, and otherwise you can drive it in 4th gear at all speeds. And then it's got the cool AM/FM radio with the tape deck. Definitely gonna get that working and keep that, because that's just too cool. And then it's got this glove box, which is a kind of a drawer, which is kind of cool. And then this is where the batteries are underneath. So you can pull the bumper off and slide the battery out. I've shown that on my channel a couple times, sliding the battery out on the tray for maintenance. But now that it's lithium, I shouldn't ever have to touch that again. It should be good to go for the rest of the life of the vehicle. So the taillights, the indicators, the headlights, all that stuff, I'm gonna need to get going again. All the light bulbs are long since burnt out. So I'll get all the indicators and the lights working, get the windshield wipers on and working, get all of the auxiliaries, all the things you need to legally drive on the road working. Obviously we need a windshield in here, and make sure all the seat belts are good to go. And then I'm gonna start driving this. I'll drive it all over Colorado, up in the mountains. I'm gonna take it around town and just enjoy this car. So super stoked to have the Electrek back in the shop so we can do some more work on it. Check this out, I got my Aptera pre-order in. So I put a pre-order in on the Aptera electric vehicle, the 3-wheeled car, and I got today a scaled model. Now they only did 1,000 of these, and I was lucky enough to get my order in time, so I got one. But I think this is just a super cool vehicle. I'm stoked to get my Aptera when they start doing deliveries. I'm really excited about the Aptera and what it represents for EVs and just the industry as a whole. A lot of EVs these days are extremely heavy. They're large cars or 4-door cars, and a lot of that has to do with the regulations for building a new car in the US. But you'll notice this one has 3 wheels, 1 in the back, 2 in the front. So this is actually called an autocycle, and it doesn't have all the same regulations that a 4-wheel car has. So that allows them to save a ton of money when it comes to the testing, the regulations that govern motor vehicles. So the car is fully crash tested, and it's a safe vehicle, which is the #1 concern with a car like this. But you can see on the roof in the back, it has solar panels. So this is a solar powered car. That's right after my own heart. And the reason that it works is because this car is so efficient. The launch edition of the Aptera has a 60 kilowatt hour battery, but it has 400 miles of range. and that's because it's so efficient. Aerodynamically, and with those 3 wheels, small wheels, it's very efficient in driving, and it's also very lightweight. And all those things is why the solar panels actually work to provide up to 40 miles of range per day in the sun. Here in Colorado, we have sun over 300 days a year. It's super sunny here, and the solar panels are gonna work excellent up here. The doors open up like kind of a clamshell, super cool. And then it also has a big hatchback. I love hatchbacks. I love really small, efficient cars that also have good cargo space. So this is a 2-seater, 2-door EV. You can't even buy one of those. What's the only 2-door EV? The Tesla Roadster, or I guess if you live in Europe, you can get the MG Cyberster. But here in the US, all EVs are basically 4 doors. So that's really cool about the Aptera, is that it's a 2-door, 2-seat vehicle. Really starts from what you need in a vehicle and nothing more. But using carbon fiber, lightweight materials, solar panels, really good aerodynamics, it makes a vehicle that's extremely efficient and fast and usable. Now this car is 3-wheel drive, which is cool. It has a motor in each hub in the front, and it also has a motor for the 3rd wheel in the back. So it's an all-wheel drive vehicle, which is good because here in Colorado we get snow and ice and all sorts of inclement weather. So this is a car that you could still use year-round. So I'm really excited about the Aptera and what it means for EVs. I like to see the out-of-the-box thinking. I like to see the focus on efficiency first and then features, versus a lot of the EVs these days on the street. They're all about the features, and then the efficiency is really bad, like the Hummer EV, for instance. So really cool to get my Aptera 1/18th scale model, and I can't wait for the real deal to show up in my driveway. So thanks again for watching. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe or tell your friends, hit a thumbs up. If you have any questions about EV Swap, what we do here, please leave a comment below and I'll answer every question. Right now, I'm looking for my next EV conversion. So if you've got a vehicle that you want to convert to EV, get in touch and we'll make it happen. All right, I'm in my Land Cruiser. I'm driving through beautiful Bailey, Colorado. I just got the chance to hang out with some high school kids. I showed them off my Land Cruiser and described how it worked. And we just talked to the kids about EVs and jobs in the EV industry, skills that you might need to build an EV like this, and just kind of showing off the vehicles to the kids and showing them something new. It was kind of cool to interact with the kids and answer their questions about the vehicle, and just kind of spread the word about EV swaps, EV conversions, and all the cool stuff that goes with them. Not just the big level picture, but the skills that you might need if you want to do something like this. You know, skills with welding and CNC, computer aided design and programming, the software, things like that. So it's really cool just to be out there with the kids. But thanks again for watching another episode of EV Swap. This one's kind of all over the place, but I hope you got something out of this, and hopefully we'll be back in the shop soon doing more conversions. Thanks for watching.